One of the things that I think causes us to be overweight is that we become complacent. We're willing to keep doing what we've been doing because we know the outcome. You know, the devil we know. Hello everyone, welcome to Mind Blowing Health and Wellness with Violet. I'm Violet, and the reason I make these videos is to help you to understand that your mental health and physical health come together to create that overall sense of well-being. If you find this kind of video helpful, please consider subscribing. So we have two possibilities, right? We can eat what we've always been eating, enjoy the taste, and maybe even the feeling it gives us to eat these foods, and stay fat. Or we can eat differently, possibly not enjoy the taste as much, possibly not get that feeling that we usually get from eating our food, and possibly be thinner. So why don't we do the one where we possibly could be thinner? Because it's possibly. See, what's interesting is that I don't know for sure I'm going to succeed at it. I do know that it's probably going to take work to do it. And so therefore I do the thing that I've always done because I know the outcome I'm going to get, even though I don't like the outcome that I get. Where else do we see this? Well, have you ever talked to someone who just can't stand their job? And as much as they can't stand their job, they're still working there? Well, why? They're still working there because they have bills to pay, and there's an expectation maybe that they continue to be the whatever it is that they are because they studied that in school, or right? And I'm a good example of this. You know, I went to school and I became a psychologist, but my first job was not in psychology. My first job was in social work. So the first mistake is deciding that making money was more important than being what I trained to be, right? But again, this is what society tells us. You need to make money. So I took the job as a social worker thinking, well, I'll do this for a few years. And then when I build up my practice and I have enough clients, I will stop doing this. So what do you think happened? First of all, let's point out that when I started this, I was still living at home, and the only debts that I had were to pay my cell phone and to pay my car payment. So theoretically, could I have survived a few months of not making a lot of money, paid my two bills on the few clients that I would have had? Yes, I could have actually. Did I do that? No. Why? Because there's an expectation that I completed school and I would have some kind of full-time job. So I'm following along with what the world told me I'm supposed to do because it's the devil I know, right? What happens though, eventually I'm no longer living at home, become pregnant, and so now the story is, well, I couldn't possibly quit working for this company now because I need to I need to help pay for this apartment that we're living in, and I'm going to have a kid that I need to take care of eventually, and so, right, move forward. What does it take for me to trust that I can just stop working for this company and do things on my own? Well, guess what? 13 years later, when I can't take it anymore working for this company because I'm not doing what I meant to do, be a psychologist, I eventually quit. Now here's what's interesting about that. When I quit, I have no support because I'm single. So no other person putting income into the home, supporting my daughter on my own. So no parents to help me, no spouse to help me. And guess what? I was successful. What does that tell you? What it actually tells me is that had I bet on myself earlier in the process, I would have succeeded earlier in the process because what I had at the time I bet on myself was so much less support and so many more debts than when I did decide to bet on myself. And the only thing I had at that time was frustration with the environment in which I was working. I can't even say I had savings because I didn't. Here's what's interesting. If I had bet on myself and realized that my goal was realistic, so that's the first thing. Your goal needs to be realistic. Is it something that I actually can do? If I had realized my goal was realistic, because I'm actually a good psychologist, if I had realized that all I really needed to do was prioritize my goal, which was to work for myself and to be able to provide for myself and potentially my family if I'd have done it years before, then I would have set myself that goal of I don't have to have the latest of every greatest cell phone, computer, and which is what I was doing earlier in the process. I had a new phone almost every year. I had changed my computer like how many times? Like the truth is, part of the reason that I couldn't give up working for the big company was because I was so invested in looking a certain way and spending on my car and my this. And guess what? Today, I can actually afford, while working for myself, to have the car that I want and own my home that I wasn't able to do when I was working for another company and having some of those things. I didn't own my own home, but having some of those things that honestly I shouldn't have had yet. And I shouldn't have had them because I hadn't bet on myself yet. My point is, if I have goals for myself and I have any ability to control the outcome of what I'm doing, why am I not controlling the outcome of what I'm doing? And it's because we're so used to what we're currently doing and we're so afraid of failure that better to stay in this situation where I know my limitations than bet on me and do better. And we do this with food. One of the great things about weight management is I get to decide what I'm going to eat. I get to decide what I put on my plate. As long as you're an adult and choosing what goes on your plate, then you get to decide when you're cooking for your family to make your meal this way, even if they're not eating the same way as you. You get to decide as an adult when you go out to eat what you're ordering in the restaurant. You get to decide when you go to friends and family's homes what you decide to eat or not eat. The nice thing about being an adult and making a decision for my better health is that I'm always with me, and therefore I always get to decide what I'm putting on my plate. Am I willing to take a chance on me that if I do the things that I've learned are healthier for me and I do them consistently, because better health is a daily endeavor. Better health is about doing the better thing all the time. Am I willing to bet on myself that if I feel better, if I feel stronger, if I get enough sleep, if I hydrate myself, if I work out, if I actually do the things that will help me to be healthy, then my life will be happier? Do I accept the devil I know, or do I invest in myself and make some changes and see what possible outcomes I can accomplish? Can I guarantee that you'll be like me and lose 70 pounds? Can't guarantee that. You might lose 30. You might lose 100. I don't know. But what I do know, you might lose 0. I don't know. All I do know is that if you don't take the chance to bet on you, you'll never know what you would have been able to accomplish. If you don't take the chance to bet on you in a realistic way, by planning your meals, by weighing your meals, by ordering in a restaurant in a way that respects what you're trying to do at home, by deciding if you're going to go to friends and they're not serving something that you can eat to eat before you go, if you're going to your parents' place or a relative's house and they're not eating, cooking the way that you want them to cook, that maybe you bring your food along or eat before you go. If I'm not willing to put something in place that allows me to try to accomplish my goal, I'll never accomplish my goal. If I never would have taken the decision to leave the company and try to do it on my own, I wouldn't be working for myself right now. I'd still be there. I have friends who are still there, not liking their job. I decided to do it because I want to like my work, I want to enjoy my time, and I want to have free time. I made the decision for me after 13 years, right? Because I was investing in the devil I knew, right? I'm encouraging you guys, learn from my mistake. Invest in yourself. You're not going to know if you can do it unless you try. I hope you guys found this video helpful. I want to thank you for watching Mind Blowing Health and Wellness with Violet. If it's your first time here, I want you to consider subscribing. For all my wellness warriors, thank you for coming back. I love making these videos for you guys, and I can't wait to talk to you next time.